I would like to invite Dorit Beinisch, the former president of the Israel Supreme Court, as well as Assaf Rapaport, co-founder and CEO of Wiz, and formerly the founder of Adalom and the managing director of Microsoft Israel. Since Dorit gave me a permission, I would like to mention that the two of us shared the same Kita Aleph, grade 1 class. I was a teacher, but
I'm much younger, but we've been together.
She's younger than me in 15 years, but we've been together in first grade. And one more personal comment, if I can be sentimental. Dorit and I had the privilege, to see this wonderful country growing up from ugly duck to become a wonderful swan. And the country when we were born was in the middle of Second World War. We are old.
It's enough the Independence War.
No, Independence War, we were already in grade...
In the army, yes.
Yeah, sure. And let's work to keep it this way.
Wow. So, former president of Israel's Supreme Court, Judge Dorit Beinisch. First of all, it's a great honor, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me here.
So, I must say it's, we love to talk in cybersecurity. We have cyber ethics. We talk about privacy. We talk about intellectual property. We had the Joe Sullivan case recently. But to be fair, it's quite unusual, for you to come and to speak in a high-tech conference, and actually for us to have like Supreme Court judge or justice in these kind of conferences. But if there is something that probably you are all familiar, that probably people are talking at least in the Israeli high-tech, and also we're hearing a lot from investors in the recent days, even more than ChatGPT, is about the new so-called reform, the plan to assert more political control over the judiciary. Does that work?
Okay.
Can I see?
No.
Okay. Open. So I want to share, one video to start with, actually from your time as from your service as a Supreme Court, and I would love to get your thoughts. Can we share a video?
מאמין שמערכת משפט חזקה ועצמאית היא זו שמאפשרת את קיומם של כל המוסדות האחרים בדמוקרטיה. אבל אני מבקש שתראו לי רודנות אחת, חברה לא דמוקרטית אחת, שבה קיימת מערכת משפט חזקה ועצמאית. אין דבר כזה. בכל מקום שבו אין מערכת משפט חזקה ועצמאית, הזכויות אינן יכולות להיות מוגנות. למעשה ההבדל בין המדינות שבהן יש זכויות על הנייר ובין מדינות שבהן יש זכויות בפועל, ההבדל הזה הוא מערכת משפט חזקה ועצמאית. וזוהי הסיבה שאני עושה ואמשיך לעשות כל שביכולתי כדי לשמור על מערכת משפט חזקה ועצמאית. רק בחודשים האחרונים גנזתי כל חוק שאיים לפגוע בעצמאות המערכת, מהניסיון לקיים שימועים לשופטים בכנסת, דרך הגבלת עתירות לבית המשפט, ועד לשינוי הרכב הוועדה לבחירת שופטים. אני אמשיך לפעול כך. ובכל פעם שיגיע לשולחני חוק שעלול לפגוע בעצמאות בתי המשפט בישראל, אנחנו נוריד אותו.
So first question, Prime Minister Netanyahu mentioned 5 times strong and independent judiciary. What has changed?
Just a minute. Before starting, I want to say how I am excited and impressed by such a group. Wonderful. Really, the cyber community, big, impressive. This gives us the feeling that we have confidence, we have such a cyber community. This is one of Israel's strengths, and this is very, very exciting. Now, to our problems. I really don't understand anything that you explain in your conference. I hope mine is much simpler than what a cyber is about. So, I don't know what changed, but definitely, if we would accept what Prime Minister Netanyahu said here, I accept it, nothing more to add. An independent judiciary, this is what we need in a democratic country, and this is what he said. And this is what we stand for. Now, I want to explain a bit, I can't explain what is the change. This is something that is political. I'm not involved in politics, and I don't understand the way politicians think, I must say. It's even more complicated than cyber people. So what I want to say is, this is the most important thing, a most important component of a democratic state is an independent judiciary. He said it. So now I must say, you have to understand the background. The background is that a legal system is always a result of many, it's special for every society. It means the background, the culture, the tradition, the history of a nation. All this brings up the judicial system. And that's why, although we share values with many democratic states, with most of them, the thing is we share the democratic values, but we develop different the legal system. In our system, which is very different from what you know if we think about the United States or others, we don't have a constitution. We don't have institutions that will protect democracy, but the courts and the Supreme Court. And, mainly what is important is the checks and balances. Who will take care of checks and balances when you don't have an independent court, you don't have a constitution, you don't have 2 houses of Congress, and the system is a whole system. And this is what is now in danger. So you need, when you have an independent court that could practice and have judicial review on administrative, on government, on the executive, and sometimes on the constitutionality of Knesset, parliament, legislation. This is the role of the court. So if we say, what is a democracy? What is the most important thing? Separation of powers, checks and balances, protecting human rights, and this is what the court stands for. And I think we have great achievements with our legal system. Very special, different, as I said, because it grew on the background of our state and our values, but we are very proud of what we achieved, like in many other fields, but in the legal system and in the court. So what is the danger now? We are an apolitical court, which means the selection of judges is not political. Politicians are involved, but the basis is professional. The basis is our common values that we share, even in a pluralistic and so society that we have. Still, we share the same basic values if we want to keep the democratic regime. And this is now in danger. And, If you want me to explain why, I will.
Yeah, so I'm curious about one thing. We have lots of Americans here, and in their system, for example, politicians kind of choose their judges. Why is it so problematic in Israel?
I just hinted a bit about it. Every system is a whole system. You cannot take and pick up one thing, cherry pick of one common thing that you have in one country and another system, which means the Constitution of the United States is a strong and rigid constitution, the first one in the world. So they have a constitution, they have two houses, I don't have to tell you what you have, the House of Representatives, the Senate, president with certain powers, sometimes you are satisfied, sometimes less. This creates the whole structure of checks and balances. We don't have it. We have only the court. Now, if a judge will think that in order to come to a higher court, he has to please the politicians, where is the independence of the court? If in office he should have more success because the politicians like him, what will be the objective values that he will protect? This is a real danger for us because there is no other guarantee to protect human rights and independence of freedom of expression, freedom of all the values that the court protects. And uncertainty. You don't know what can happen. This gives a very large power to the government, and it may become tyranny of the government. You see, populism is one of the tools that governments in democracies that decline is populism. And, they took the American slogan that the judges, if they are not elected, they are not democratic. No, this is the guarantee that judges will review government decisions because they are not elected, they don't need a population. This is the difference between elected bodies and the professional court, which represents the values of society.
I definitely agree from the private sector, at least. This is we saw in many countries that doesn't have independent courts. Economy cannot thrive. Definitely startup nation cannot become. But I want to change, maybe switch some gears. And you've been, you were the first woman to be appointed as Israel Attorney General. You're the first woman to be Supreme Court President. And if you look even in this audience, we have so few women actually in high tech and specifically in cyber. What advice do you have for someone who sits here, a woman that want to become entrepreneur, CEO, CISO?
First of all, just to correct, I wasn't Attorney General, I was a state attorney. The difference is not very clear for foreigners, so I won't, but I was the first, it's true. Things changed since I started and today. I think that today women have more power, they should have much more power to believe in what they can do, to be strong and really try to achieve what they can achieve, and they couldn't do that for many social reasons. So education, the generation of my grandchildren has another view about equality of women than our generation had. So women should feel equal. Legislation is okay. We do have legislation to protect equality, but life is more complicated. Not always they have the opportunities. More opportunities. You who sit here, companies, cyber people, give the opportunity to women. They can do it much better. Justice Bader Ginsburg was asked how many women she would want to see in the American court. She said 9. They have 9 justices. I don't think so. I think that we can share and achieve a lot with the power, the talent, and the strong will of women to advance. And you can do that.
Amazing. Thank you very much, former President of Israel Supreme Court, Judge Dorit Beinisch.
Thank you, Assaf, and enjoy this interesting conference.
Thank you, Assaf. Thank you, Dorit. I'm sure we will hear from you more later.